Are you looking for the best budget graphics cards? In this video, we will look at some of the 5 best budget graphics cards on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description. So make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting at number 1. ZOTAC GeForce GTX 1660. If you're looking for the best budget graphics card under $200, then this GTX 1660 from ZOTAC is not what you're looking for. That's because it comes in at just slightly over $200. However, it is close enough, and if you can stretch your budget just a bit, you'll get a much more powerful GPU when compared to the true sub-$200 graphics cards on this list. This GTX 1660 Super comes with a 1530 MHz core clock and a 1785 MHz boost clock. It sports 6 GB of GDDR6 VRAM and requires a minimum of a 450 watt power supply. It also measures in at just under 8.5 inches, making it a great option for smaller builds. For performance, you can expect this GPU to max out any game on a 1080p monitor. And it should achieve a high enough average framing in most games to where you'd benefit by pairing it with a 144Hz monitor that has G-Sync technology. Number 2. XFX Radeon RX 6500 XT. If you don't quite have $200 to spend, your next best bet is probably this Radeon RX 6500 XT from XFX. The RX 6500 XT isn't the GPU in the world, and it even loses in benchmarks to older generation cards, like the RX 5500 XT. That's mainly due to the fact that it comes with a lower VRAM capacity, only 4 GB of GDDR6 VRAM. However, the RX 5500 XT is difficult to find, and the RX 6500 XT is readily available. So, while 4 GB of VRAM may not be ideal, at this price point, it's still the best offering. Furthermore, the RX 6500 XT is still powerful enough to allow you to play any games on a 1080p display, ideally, with AMD's FreeSync technology, on at least medium settings. And, for non-demanding esports titles like Rocket League of Legends, or games like Minecraft, it is more than powerful enough to get the job done. So, if you're looking for a more budget-friendly GPU option, the RX 6500 XT is a decent option worth considering. Number 3. XFX Radeon RX 6400. If you have a tighter budget and you can't spend more than $150, this XFX Radeon RX 6400 graphics card is a good option. The RX 6400 lags a bit behind both the GTX 1660 Super and the RX 6500 XT, but it will still run most games on a 1080p monitor on at least medium settings. This card is also one of the shortest options on this list, sporting a low-profile design and measuring in at 6.3 inches long. So, that would make it an excellent option for a smaller form factor system. It also comes with a 2321 MHz base clock rate and 4 GB of GDDR6 VRAM. Overall, if you don't have the budget to get a GTX 1660 Super, an RX 6400 is probably your next best option. And, of the RX 6400s currently on the market, this XFX card offers the best price to performance as of the time of writing this article. Number 4. PowerColor Radeon RX 550. If you don't have more than $100 to spend on a graphics card, you have a few options. As of right now, the best sub-$100 GPU is an RX 550. And, as of the time of updating this guide, the top sub-$100 RX 550 currently available is this low-profile option from XFX. This card comes with a 1071 MHz base clock rate, 2 GB of VRAM, and a single-fan cooling configuration. Due to the single-fan configuration and low-profile design, this RX 550 measures in at just 6.0 inches long. So, it's a great option for a budget-friendly mini gaming PC build. For performance, you can expect to run most games on a 1080p monitor on at least lower settings. For non-demanding games like League of Legends, this card will work just fine, and for more demanding games, you can play on lower settings until you have enough money to upgrade to something more powerful. Number 5. EVGA GeForce GTX 1650 Super. While it might seem that I have something against NVIDIA cards based on this article, the reality is that, at the current price points, AMD cards seem to make more sense in the sub-$200 price range. The GTX 1650 Super does provide a slight performance boost over the RX 6500 XT in most games, however it also comes in at, or just above, $200. And, at that point, the GTX 1660 Super listed above would be a better option. However, if you're able to find a GTX 1650 Super for the same price, or cheaper, than the RX 6500 XT, then you'd probably be better off choosing it instead. And if they do, this EVGA card would be one of the better options. It comes with a 1755 MHz base clock, 4 GB of VRAM, and a dual fan configuration. It also measures in at 8.0 inches long. Overall, though, you can either spend a little more to get a better performing card, the GTX 1660 Super, or you can spend less and get virtually the same performance, RX 6500 XT. So, for now, the GTX 1650 Super is an honorable mention. Number 6. PNY GeForce GTX 1650. Another NVIDIA card that doesn't make it into our top picks due to the price it comes in at is the non-Super GTX 1650. The standard GTX 1650 costs close to the same amount as the RX 6500 XT. However, the RX 6500 XT provides quite a bit more performance than the GTX 1650. So, as of right now, the RX 6500 XT has a better price-to-performance ratio. Of course, with graphics card prices changing on a daily basis, it is worth taking a look at 1,650 prices before you make your final decision. And, of the GTX 1650 options out there, this PNY card is a decent option. Number 7. Gigabyte GeForce GT 1030. Another sub-$100 graphics card option is this Gigabyte GeForce GT 1030. At just under $85, it is the most affordable option on this list. And if you're working with a tight budget to build a new gaming PC or upgrade an older computer, a GT 1030 is an excellent option. It won't give you great in-game performance, especially in demanding titles, but it can hold you over until you can afford an upgrade. Ultimately, the GT 1030 is an entry-level card that won't work for most individuals. If you are strapped for cash, though, and need a cheap GPU to get you by, it should do the trick.